5-0334 SM People versus James Crowley.
This is Alyssa's fault again, and it gets weird.
Hi, you're James Crowley?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and today is the date scheduled for a
There is witnesses report.
trial.
Oh, well, yes.
And this is the prosecutor's requesting an adjournment on the case. We're going to and your attorney has agreed to that. So we're going to adjourn your pretrial conference. Will we send out a notice, or do we get that today?
For,
Crowley?
they will send a notice, yes.
Mr. Crowley, a new notice will be sent to you. Are you on Hunt Street?
Negative, Your Honor.
Is that your address or no?
No, Your Honor.
Did you give a new address to the check-in clerk when you checked in?
Yes, I did.
Okay, okay, perfect. We have it then.
Okay. All right, yeah, your bond is continued. It's like a $2,000 personal bond, same bond conditions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have questions?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Wait, hold on a minute.
We have complaining witnesses here for this case. The complaining witnesses are in the courtroom.
Oh, all right, yeah, so this is on James Crowley, and I understand the complaining witnesses in the courtroom on Crowley. So we're going to adjourn. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Jennifer Ashby.
Okay, so I've got a note from the prosecutor to adjourn this case for another date.
Good.
So we're gonna reset it for another date. That notice will be sent out. I don't have the date today, though. You can probably go down to the clerk's and get that date.
Thank you.
Do you have questions?
No, I just want to make sure that the no contact is in order.
The bond is continued, and it was previously a no contact provision.
That's broken.
It's courtroom.
It was broken?
That's why we're adjourning. So that those documents can make it up to the court system so that we.
Well, we need to have the prosecutor address this then.
That's what.
Stay on the line, Mr. Crowley. We'll need your attorney back, and we'll need the prosecutor. So just have a seat for a moment here.
Morning, Your Honor, Nora Holloway on behalf of the people.
All right, well, good morning. And why don't you step forward? We're going to need Mr. Crowley's attorney here as well.
I believe it's Mr. Gazicki.
Okay. Did you talk to the victim?
Did you say September?
Yeah, just have a seat for a moment over there.
Yeah.
All right, so this is recalling people versus James Crowley and.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hi, Mr.
James Gazicki on behalf of Mr. Crowley. Prosecutor's asking for an adjournment, Your Honor. So we will stipulate to that.
So I don't have a problem with that, but there's the victim is in the courtroom and she said something about a violation of the bond conditions. So we need to address that.
Your Honor, the report that's in the file indicates that Child Protective Services contacted her. I don't think that'd be considered a bond violation, Your Honor. He's got a right to notify proper authorities if he believes it's in the best interest of the children and so on. So I would ask the court just to continue the personal bond. He's aware that neither he nor any other person can have contact with the victim in this case.
Your Honor, the bond violation allegation in this case is not regarding CPS. It is regarding a third-party contact that was allegedly made by Mr. Crowley to a Ms. Shiloh Hickey, allegedly telling her that to talk to the complaining witness and tell her that he will come after her. And both the complaining witness and Ms. Hickey are here today.
Your Honor, we asked for a hearing on that. That's the first that I'm getting facts concerning that violation.
May I speak on that in defense right now?
No, don't speak, Mr. Crowley. Don't speak.
Well, I'm honest. I'm honest. I ain't got nothing to hide.
Mr. Crowley, I'm advising you as your attorney because anything you say can be used against you.
I'll say
I'm
the same thing.
I'm asking for Mr. Crowley. Your Honor, can I go back in a breakout room, Mr. Crowley?
Yes, I'll put him.
Yeah,
I'll
you
go with,
want to go into a breakout room, Mr. Kazicki, with Mr. Crowley?
Yes, sir, just for a
I
moment,
have some
yes.
information my attorney might like to know.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
just
can
hit the
put-
button to go in the breakout room.
Sure. Well, why don't we just set this aside for a moment then?
We have two.
All right, so we'll go on to people versus Jonathan Woodward.
You can't see us over here, right? No, that's what I was supposed to see.
Case 24-3190. Yes.
Morning, Your Honor. Jeffrey Santo, on behalf of Mr. Woodard. Judge, Mr. Woodard has, contrary to our view of the case, wishes to avail himself of an offer made by the that stands what the consequences are, but we're not comfortable.
Hi, what's your name?
I cannot motion.
But not one that we've been able to see.
Has to be knowingly understand. I was angry at my spouse and I hit her, or I pushed actual basis other than maybe the police report would be used typically as the factual basis. But you need a reason to plead no contest. People normally do it because they're afraid of civil liability, being sued, or because they were too high or drunk to remember what happened. So, and if you don't go to plead no contest, you need a factual basis. So it has to be, well, I was angry at my spouse and I hit her, or I pushed her, or I spit on her, or I bit her, choked her, or something along those lines. So there has to be support for that guilty plea. And if you're unable to provide, and I never would suggest, and you should never, say something that's not true. You never say do that in court, because that's even worse. So, but if you can't provide that factual support, then we're just spinning our wheels on this. You understand that?
I understand that.
Okay. So would you, no.
Do I need to elaborate?
Pardon?
Do I need to elaborate?
Well, I don't want you to make statements that might be against your interest at this time. But I just want you to understand that if you intend to plead guilty against your attorney's advice, you would have to explain to the judge that and provide factual support for an assault and battery against your spouse. I assume this is your spouse.
I admit it. I saw that part when I was trying to edit. and and it's not part of the case, but I thought it was too fun.
Right? You understand that? And unless you can do that, the judge and I won't accept a guilty plea if you can't provide factual support.
Hey, sorry about that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's just a basic rule that judges won't violate. There has to be factual support for that guilty plea. You can't have it both ways. You can't say I'm pleading guilty, but I'm not guilty, in other words. You're right? You understand that concept? That won't work with judges.
I understand.
You can't say I'm guilty, but I'm not, I'm going to plead guilty, but I didn't do anything wrong. That doesn't work. You got to provide factual support for that guilty plea. It actually fits that crime.
Yes, sir.
You still want to proceed the way you're talking about without an attorney? And
I want to speak to the prosecuting attorney.
And the prosecutor's right behind you, so you can talk to her. Why don't you do that? You want to do it without your attorney?
Yes.
All right. You understand that you might be making incriminating statements. She's going to be asking you possibly questions that would incriminate you.
I understand.
All right. Yeah, go ahead then. Yeah.
And Judge, we're allowed to withdraw under those circumstances?
Well, why don't you just, is there any way you can
If he's going to
sit
talk to
in
the
on it?
prosecutor, Judge, on his own, at that point, I'm kind of out.
Well, I know, and the prosecutor's kid's got to be worried about that too. She can't be talking to him. So, yeah, all right, I'll let you withdraw.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Good luck, Mr. Wood.
Just reappoint if necessary.
Understood, Judge.
Yeah, all right, good deal.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
So, all right, I guess we'll go back then to Crowley.
All right, we're back from Kinky Court.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, yeah, Mr. Gazicki, are we having a hearing on the bond violation? Is that where we're going?
Your Honor, we'd have to. I'd like this third party to come in and testify. Mr. Crowley did not authorize anyone to talk on his behalf. This is a blatant accusation. As the court noticed in the file, you got a case here where the victim's upset because Child Protective Services contacted her. So I would like definitely a hearing on this, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, a report was made, and I did request that it get sent into the court, although I'm not sure if it was.
Well, there's something about the contact with Child Protective Services, but I think, is there also an allegation that a third party was asked to, through Mr. Crowley, to make contact with the victim?
Yes, Your Honor, there is. And again, I did advise the complaining witness to make a report. I am aware that she did, but I don't believe it was sent into the court, although I did request it.
Is the third party here today?
Yes.
Do we want to take testimony on that? Where do you want to go?
We are ready to do that if that's what the court.
So the third party is here, Mr. Gazicki and Mr. Crowley, and the prosecutor's prepared to move forward with this.
There is the third party here?
Yes.
The third party? Well, if the court wants to do the hearing, we'll do the hearing.
Well, I think
I don't know if you
should.
need Mr. Crowley in person or we're going to do it by Zoom or what.
Well, I mean, we could do it later this morning if Mr. Crowley wants to come into court.
I'm in Port Huron, Michigan, Your Honor.
Well, it's important. I think we address this today.
Don't
Well,
worry.
we can do it right now. If you feel jail or anything is the best place for me, really, Your Honor, I'll come in. I'll uphold my word.
All right. Well, let's.
Because I didn't do this, and I want my name cleared. This shit's retaliation. I want it dismissed. But hey, okay.
All right. So yeah, let's hear from the witness then.
Would you like to start now?
The third party, yeah.
Okay, so the people call Ms. Shiloh Hickey.
You want her to witness him?
Yeah, up here. Hi, what's your name, ma'am?
Shiloh Hickey.
All right, can you spell that for me?
SHYLOHICKEY.
SHYLO,
Yes. Yes.
and your last name?
Hickey, HICKEY.
All right. So you want to raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm testimony you're about to provide today will be truthful?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Gazicki, can you see the witness? You want to come in the courtroom or?
Yeah, I'll come in the courtroom, Your Honor.
All right.
Get up. Our cousin Shiloh is in court testifying against me, saying right now, standing beside the counsel. I want to know with
You'll never believe it, but this goes sideways.
All right, yeah, your witness.
Right, could you please state your name again for the record?
Shiloh Hickey?
Ms. Hickey, do you know a man by the name of James Crowley?
Yes.
And do you see him today here in the courtroom or on Zoom today?
On them.
Okay, and let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant. And did you make contact with Mr. Crowley recently?
Yes.
Do you recall what day that happened on?
Depending on which one. The day of the incident of which he asked me was the 18th of March, this
Okay.
month.
And what
What
city?
day was it?
The 18th.
Okay.
The only reason why I know the date exactly was I was supposed to take my brother to take his car into the shop, and I didn't make it, but I still ended up coming by his house the same day.
And Ms. Hickey, so allow me to ask you the questions and answer the questions that I asked. So it happened on the 18th of March. Where were you on that day?
At my brother's house in Romulus.
Okay, and is that in the county of Wayne?
Yes.
And what did Mr. Crowley tell you when you made contact with him?
We were talking about how he was having problems with Jen and that they were going to court, and we started talking more, and he's like, yeah, I need this case dismissed. He's like, I need you to do me a favor. He's like, I need you to do whatever it takes necessary to get it dismissed. I was like,
And then, so you said Jen. Can you tell me who you mean when you say Jen?
Jennifer Ashby or Craven or whichever last name that goes by on like paper.
Okay. And what did he tell you next?
Just to do whatever it took to get the case dropped. He's like, but I don't want any details on it.
And what did he say after that?
He's like, just let me know. That's it. And expecting me to take that as it was.
And did he advise you to speak to Miss Jennifer Ashby?
Yeah, either that or to get one of my friends to do it so that way he couldn't be connected because I'm his cousin.
How, and what did he tell you? And how did he tell you to make contact with her?
To go up to her job,
And do what?
get her to drop the case, whatever means necessary.
And did you do anything after that?
No.
And did you ever make contact with Miss Ashby after that?
Yes, on the 24th of March to warn her about what was going on.
Okay, and what did you tell her?
That Jimmy asked me to do whatever was necessary to get her to drop the case, and that I was worried about her and that she should definitely be looking over her shoulder because he's having a mental breakdown and I don't know what's wrong with him.
Okay, and just to clarify, where did you make contact with her?
I tried to go to her job and she didn't answer, and then I contacted her on the phone and called her. I didn't think that she'd answer my phone at first, that's why I went to her job, because everything that was going on and with me being Jimmy's cousin.
Okay, and let me stop you there. Did you only make contact with her by phone or?
I didn't see her at her job, no, I made contact with her over the phone.
Judge, the people are satisfied. So we would ask that you think and excuse this witness.
Yeah, Mr. Gazicki.
I'd like to ask some questions.
Oh, I didn't see him in here, sorry.
Snuck in on us.
Okay, Miss, your last name is Hicks?
Hickey.
Hickey?
Mhm.
Okay. And you stated that back on the 18th, you were at your brother's house
Correct.
with Mr. Crowley there?
Correct.
Who's your brother?
Casey Hickey.
Do you know if there's any kind of court proceedings taking place between your brother, yourself, and Mr. Crowley?
Nothing to do with myself, but I have no idea between the two of them.
All right. And you said on the 18th that when you were talking to Crowley, Mr. Crowley stated that he wants to get this case resolved, whatever it takes, right? Correct? Did he say anything else?
No, just said to do whatever it takes necessary.
Right. He didn't say anything that he's going to shoot anybody or hurt anybody or anything like that, right?
He has a history of.
No. Did he say anything about?
Incriminating himself? No, thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's all he made a statement that.
Asking me to do whatever it took necessary to get her to drop the case.
Mm.
Are we living in reality?
So you waited, you're worried about, was it Miss Ashby?
Yes.
And you waited 6 days to tell her?
When he popped his lid and went nuts, yes. I didn't think he would actually do something.
This happened on the 18th, you had a discussion.
Correct.
And then on the 24th is when you said this to.
Yes, because I knew he finally lost it and I was worried for her.
And one more time, I want to ask you, you don't know of any kind of criminal complaints being made by your brother or against your brother with Mr. Crowley?
Yes, criminal complaint, but not total.
What criminal complaint?
They got into it and got into an argument.
And when was that?
The 24th.
The 24th.
Correct. It's not that.
So on the 24th, this is when you decide to tell
Yes.
Ms. Ashby, but prior to that, you didn't think nothing of it, right?
Yeah, because I didn't.
I got no further questions.
No, we're not doing that.
I just want to speak first.
No.
Mr. Crowley, please, Mr. Crowley is recording with his phone on Zoom. I don't know what the intent is behind that. It's already recorded. We are, again.
I'm going to clarify what I said.
Just wait till you spoke, please.
Mr. Crowley, are you recording this? You're muted, Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley, you're muted.
No, I'm home alone in my bedroom.
Right.
Have you been recording this?
No, I have not been recording.
Oh, wow. Did you have your
sitting here? No, yeah, my brother. Yeah, my brother. Yep. Is that against? I hope that's not against the law or anything. I did. My brother was in here. Hang on, I'm not lying about nothing. He did have he had his phone out and it was recording. I did not. He said he's apologizing. I didn't notice he was there behind me. He probably had my best interest in mind, but we'll destroy it right now.
Okay, so.
Sorry about that.
What's your brother's name in case they want to prosecute your brother for doing that?
Oh my God. Well, can I take full responsibility?
You know, well, what's your brother's name, Mr. Crowley?
His name's Lee Evans.
Who's with you and what's his name?
Lee Evans Jr. That's it.
Ray Evans Jr.?
No, Lee Evans. Yep. Lee Evans Jr. And I take.
This reminds me of a dram shop case. Dram shop is when you have a bar fight and everyone's drunk in the bar. And people for years have been trying to get me to take dram shop cases. And I'm like, everyone's lying. Everyone's lying. The bar owner's lying. The cops lying. The people involved are lying. Everyone's lying. I want no part of it. I want no part of it. That's what this reminds me of.
Let me take full responsibility for this, Your Honor.
So, all right, Mr. Crowley. All right, so go ahead, Mr. Did you want to say anything about the alleged video?
Yeah, can we?
Your Honor, are you speaking to me?
Yes.
I did just see in the Zoom right now on the camera, there was a phone on his screen and it appeared like he was recording. Again, given the allegations in this bond violation, it does appear to be to intimidate people trying to record that. I don't know for what reason, but again, these victims are in fear.
All right, so, yeah, you need to delete that recording. Your
All
brother
right, we'll
needs
make sure. We'll give it up. We'll let a tech prove that it wasn't copied or everything. We'll bring in whoever we need to bring in to prove that we're honorable people over here. Lily, stop it.
All right.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm sorry for that in any way. I mean, no disrespect to the court, Your Honor, or to the people.
You not understand how that could be considered intimidating?
No, I absolutely, yes, I do. I definitely do. I'm in my own room. You know, I don't mean to create intimidating. I mean, you know, that is my family.
You understand that this is a domestic violence charge, which is by its nature intimidating charge?
Your Honor.
And that behavior just is consistent with, you know, the charge?
Well, I'm sorry to even give that propriety. The impropriety of that alone, I apologize for. But I'm scared to death. That's a lie. And
You and your
cousin is
brother
lying on me.
consider, can I stop you for a moment? Would you and your brother consider standing in the
I'll take a
courtroom?
polygraph, will you?
Would
What,
you
right
and your
now?
brother, would you and your brother consider standing in the courtroom videotaping a witness appropriate?
Well, yeah, I would, because I believe
You
that
would?
even the
Lying on me is a lot like tooken. It's an immediate -5 points. You take a serious hit to credibility right there. I don't care what else is going on.
evidence,
All
yeah,
right.
because
Do you
anything.
Would you like someone videotaping your testimony while you were in the courtroom?
Yes, I would allow that.
All right, so that's a total misunderstanding. You cannot do that. That's considered very intimidating. You
I
cannot
apologize.
I did not see the judge going there with that. I did not. He's like, all right, well, I guess you didn't understand. Which is, it's not crazy. That was just left field for me.
That without the authority, and you can't do it without the authority of the court.
Oh,
You understand
okay.
that?
I do, and nothing like
And
that will
that
ever
to me
happen.
would be common sense, and you're basically in a courtroom. Although we're allowing you to do this remotely, you are basically in the courtroom, and your behavior needs to comply with courtroom behavior and decorum. And that
Yes,
means
Your Honor.
not walking around when you're talking. It
Yes,
means
Your Honor.
standing still, and it means not recording unless you're given permission to record.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, so anything further with the witness?
Yes, just a brief redirect.
Yes.
So on cross examination, you had said something about an incident involving your brother and Mr. Crowley. I wanted to clarify, what date did that happen on?
The 24th. Now, when that happened,
I want to ask you questions. Prior to that, you had indicated you first made contact on March 18th with Mr. Crowley. Why was he at your brother's house that day, if you know?
because he was, he had his stuff there and he had been staying there because the domestic violence dispute between him and Jen.
And then an incident had happened between him and your brother on the 24th. With
Correct. He had, I'm assuming, a mental breakdown, broke down my brother's door at 5 o'clock in the morning, and my brother drew a pistol on him, and then they proceeded to have a fist fight. So that had, over Jennifer. He accused my brother or one of his friends of sleeping with Jen, and then caused a big argument and a big fight.
How is
No
this
further
relevant?
questions, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
I got a follow-up question.
Sure.
Where did this take place at?
My brother's house,
Where's that?
Romulus.
And
then
he
I
pulled a
hear
pistol,
from
he
Jen,
pulled a
and so I
pistol.
went to
Ma'am,
her.
answer my question, please. Your brother pulled a pistol on Mr. Crowley.
Right, after being woke.
And you, Your Honor, would you instruct the witness?
Yeah, so, all right. Ms. Hickey,
I'm answering questions.
all right, but we don't argue.
I'm not arguing, I'm telling you.
You're arguing with me.
Witnesses.
You are arguing with me right now, okay? And I know this is an intimidating situation, and I know it's uncomfortable, the fact that you're in the middle of this. But the fact is the way we can only record one person talking at a time.
Correct.
And the procedure that is used in court is question and answer. Okay, not question and argue. Question, answer best of your ability. Okay? Don't speak over him and don't argue with him. And if you can't answer the question, say you can't answer the question. But we can't have you arguing, or we can't have you both talking at the same time. Okay? All right.
And on that date with your brother, you indicated that Mr. Crowley destroyed some of your brother's property?
He broke down the door.
Yeah. And there's no criminal charges emanating out of that incident?
Objection, Your Honor. It's not relevant at this
Oh,
time.
it's very relevant to the credibility of this witness, because Your Honor, first of all, if I may, they have a conversation on the 18th. She waits 6 days before she talks to the complainant in this case, but she doesn't do it because of concern. Apparently, Mr. Crowley and her brother get into an argument, so this is in retaliation of whatever happened there. And there's a lot to that incident. You got one person pulling a pistol and another person supposedly breaking a door.
I'll let
I don't
you
know what
answer
happened
the
there.
question. Remember the question?
No, but I.
Al will really object. Question is there a criminal case pending in Romulus over this?
Not that I'm aware of, no, it was dropped.
I have no further question, Your Honor.
I have a question.
Well,
you guys
don't
keep-
have to ask. You're not asking questions.
Well, I have something to say then. You guys keep saying that this
Objection,
is
Your Honor, to the
Boy,
narrative.
It's not.
I'm not sure.
I thought he was crazy enough to do that to my brother. What do you think I thought?
We don't want your opinion, really. I mean, we're trying to deal with facts, okay?
I'm telling you facts. I will take a polygraph.
All right, but the prosecutor, if you have any more questions. If she doesn't have any questions, I'm gonna have you step down.
Just a couple. I can-
Yeah.
just look at this a little. So, on the day that the incident happened with your brother, why did you decide to talk to Ms. Ashby?
Because I was afraid for her.
Did something happen on that day that made you more concerned?
Because when I got there, everything in my brother's cash and otherwise was gone, and I had a feeling he was running. So my first thought was he was gonna do something to Jen because there's no one fucking there to stop him now.
And then after that, did you go to Ms. Ashby to speak to her?
Yes, I went to her job to try to find her, to warn her what's going on.
No further questions.
All right, anything further?
No, yeah.
All right, thanks for coming in.
We just have to
Appreciate
do
that.
this.
Yeah. You can step down. Okay. All right, well then, this is regarding the bond violation. Did you want to have any further argument on this testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. First, the complaining witness in this case is in a lot of fear of what's been going on after this incident date that we are here for. The witness testified today that the defendant had told her to tell the complaining witness to drop the charges on this case. An incident had occurred and she became more concerned and she went out to tell Ms. Ashby. And now Ms. Ashby is in a lot of fear. This goes against the third-party provision in the no contact order, which says that the defendant cannot have third parties reach out to the complaining witness to ask them to drop the charges. And we would ask that you find the defendant guilty of this bond violation.
All right, yeah, Mr. Gazicki, any response?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, as I indicated before, and it's evident in the file, that the victim or complainant in this case complained about Mr. Crowley contacting CPS. All right. Now we got a situation here where a witness, Ms. Hickey, comes in here and testifies that on the 18th they have a conversation. Nothing is done on that. And she indicates, she made her statement on what was, transpired on that day. Nothing is said. But back on later on the 24th, her brother and Mr. Crowley get into some sort of situation, and out of retaliation, this is all of a sudden now, how can I get even? She goes running to the complainant in this case, saying, oh, he said this, he said that. Your Honor, the witness's demeanor on here It sounds like a person that is, in my opinion, very vindictive. I asked a question, but she had to have her own say. Your Honor spoke to her, she had to have her own say. You know, this is a woman that came forward. This is a woman that came forward, like I said, just out of retaliation of what transpired between her brother and Mr. Crowley. And if this was such a big concern or something, you know, and if what she says is true, I can't see a reasonable person waiting 6 days to tell the complainant in the case. So I would ask the court not to violate the bond condition and just let him remain on personal bond.
Any response?
Yes, Your Honor. The incident that happened between the witness's brother and the defendant is only relevant for the reason that after it had happened, she had reason to believe that the defendant would do something to the complaining witness. He had advised her prior to that date to tell the complaining witness to drop the charges. And when the second incident with her brother had occurred, that is what placed her in fear for the complaining witness's life, which led her to speak to her. And I also want to remind the court, I mean, what just happened in court today with the seemingly intimidating act that the defendant has done. The complaining witness here and the two other people that she brought with her today are in a lot of fear of the defendant. It's very clear that he seems to be the vindictive one, the intimidating one. And again, we would just ask this court if I can guilty.
All right, so, no, Mr. Crowley, we're not, I don't know, if the attorney wants to call you as a witness, Mr. Gazicki?
We're good.
He's not calling you as a witness, and so I'm not, you've got an attorney to argue for you. All right, so, yeah, why the witness? The burden of proof is on this a preponderance of the evidence. And the witness was credible. Date and time and location of the discussion regarding with Mr. Crowley indicating do whatever you need to do to get the case dismissed. I believe that statement was made, and that would be a clear violation of the bond. Why she didn't notify the victim immediately, I don't know. There could be multiple reasons. I mean, sometimes people are asked to do things and they make their own decision and say, I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to get involved any further. You know, she could just say, listen, I'm not going to do that and let it go at that. Maybe, but I'm not going to second guess why she may or may not have done it sooner. But I believe that her testimony was truthful, and by a preponderance of the evidence, I find a bond violation, a serious bond violation, Mr. Crowley. This case is going from bad to worse for you. You need to let it run its course and follow the court's orders, and that's extremely important. Asking a third party to intimidate a victim is totally in violation of the bond, in my opinion.
I'm not guilty of that, and I didn't ask her to do that.
I hear what you're saying, and I've ruled differently. All right, so any recommendations?
Your Honor, I wouldn't. I'm no.
Mr. Crowley, quiet.
Your Honor, just that the bond be revoked.
So,
Your Honor, if I may address that, I disagree with it, obviously. I mean, this is something, you know, like I said, six days she waits. You know, they may have had a conversation that, hey, you know, whatever it takes, I want to get this done. But you know, he didn't tell her, go over there, you know, slit her throat, put a gun to her head and all this kind of stuff. Nothing like that. I would ask the court, just in this case, Mr. Crowley is well aware that he's got to watch who he talks to, what he says, and so on. You know, and again, this matter's being adjourned instead of being resolved today or going toward a resolution today. It's being adjourned today because the prosecutor wants to adjourn it. So, this is all a disadvantage to my client, Your Honor, and I'd ask the court not to revoke them.
Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna revoke the bond. I consider that a serious bond violation. I'm gonna set another bond. I'm revoking the $2,000 personal bond and setting the bond at 10% of $7,000. That's gonna have to be posted within 24 hours. Mr. Crowley, if you're unable to post it, you need to turn yourself into the Taylor Police Department.
So I need
No,
$700
That's correct.
in 24 hours.
That's correct, Mr. Crowley. If you can't pay it, then you need to turn yourself into the Taylor Police Department within 24 hours.
Where do I pay it at?
You come to the district court, the Taylor District Court, and have that paid.
Your Honor, will you give me 48 hours and I'll have it paid?
No, I'm not gonna give you 48. I'm giving you 24.
All right, then I'll pay it. I'll pay it or I'll turn it in or I'll turn myself in.
Same bond conditions as stated, no contact, direct or indirect. And that
Your
means
Honor,
social media or, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just,
I get it. Yes, sir.
you understand the bond conditions and
Yes, sir.
being
Yes, Your
reinforced, so
Honor.
you have a little more skin in the game if you decide to violate.
No, I'm not violating anything. This is all made up. I'm smart enough not to put myself in peril. I want the court to know that. I am smart enough, I'm disciplined enough not to put myself in. I know better. I would not put myself at risk for jail time. Period.
All right. All right. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good, Your Honor. I'm gonna go get this
I threw it out, and God darn it, people like me. But I was muted, of course.
money.
All right. Good deal. Thank you. And you'll be notified of the pretrial date.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay.
Is this over?
You're free to hang up, Mr. Crowley.
Yes, sir, you're free to hang up.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Thanks.
That's okay. Thank you.
All right.
We've got an emergency, Karen, which is also Alyssa's fault. Let's do this thing, shall we?
You are there, Jason O'Brien, we have you, and now we have Mr. Johnson who's representing Mr. O'Brien. And 2532 is our case. You don't have to stay there, Ms. Bears, if you don't want. And let me get the documents up before me. As you see, I'm going to be looking back and forth as I've got an electronic file and I am listening, but looking at what's been filed. Thank you. Let's see. All right. There's a lot of information filed and I had an opportunity to review it all. So let me put Ms. O'Brien, have you raise your right hand? Brooke O'Brien, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. And then Jason O'Brien, raise your right hand with me. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to start out here. I've had an opportunity, as I said, to review. There's lots of information provided on all sides. And Mr. Johnson is representing Mr. O'Brien, and he's going to have the opportunity to ask questions of Ms. O'Brien and to present the case for Mr. O'Brien. So first off, Ms. O'Brien, then as I said, I've looked at everything. And let me just kind of open something up here again. So I have it before me. There it is. Before I allow Mr. Johnson to ask any questions, what would you like to say that you haven't already put into evidence or something you want to focus in on? Or
Your Honor, I'm just here again today to request a 1-year protection order, sadly, against my father. My father's harassed and threatened and sabotaged a lot of things regarding a DV situation as well. That was submitted as well, that he bailed out my husband in a DV situation. The mental and verbal abuse has continued into my adulthood, as I've submitted that as well. I've endured this behavior for far too long, which is why I'm here today. My father's lied in his declaration about his Facebook accounts. I've proved that in exhibits that he's perjured himself. He's used multiple Facebook accounts to harass and
You're
reach
referring to your
out.
second petition, your second response? Is that what you're referring to, those exhibits?
Well, I wasn't allowed to respond to any other exhibits prior last court date.
I have the second declaration of
That's what I'm suspecting,
petitioner.
but I don't know yet.
Then yes, then that was submitted.
Okay.
That is what I'm talking
But those
about.
pictures that are appended to that, is that what you're talking about, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And then on top of this, he's used those accounts for years. My father's sister, Natasha, also lied in her declaration by falsely stating that I obtained and shared content without her knowledge or permission. These were messages clearly Natasha sent to me by herself, also proven in the exhibits I provided. Natasha's no longer here with us as she has passed away.
I don't know.
So having her to deal with this on her deathbed is quite concerning in general for her to write anything as she was medicated on morphine to pass peacefully. I believe my request for protection rises to level of unlawful harassment, and I believe my father needs to be accountable for his behaviors that he is all of his witnesses attested to in their declarations. I believe he also, the only way that this will stop and this behavior will stop progressively will be because of legal repercussions. Thank you for your time.
So you're asking for an order that would do what? What would you want?
Protect me from all the things that I've submitted to the courts, ma'am.
So what does that mean? No contact of any kind with your father, not allow him to contact you through family, through friends, through social media, to stay
Correct.
away from you, a geographical distance?
Yes.
Just looking at your petition here to be clear what you're asking for. Let's see, you said no harm to you, no contact with you, no stalking, stay 1,000 feet away from your person, your residence, school or daycare. I didn't see any kid. Yes, of the
Yeah, her name's Grace
child.
back, and yes, I want her involved as well for a year.
And all right, so all of those things you asked in your petition, that's what you're asking for.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Let me just kind of review again to see if I have any particular question. Well, Mr. Johnson, why don't you go ahead? Do you have any questions of Ms. O'Brien?
Yes, Ms. O'Brien, isn't it true that you received financial assistance from your husband as recently as January?
How is my husband allowed or even able to give me financial assistance?
Not your husband, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Your father. Your father provided financial assistance to you and your husband as recently as January, true?
Since January, because we worked for him in his construction company, yes. But that was also paid wages that were earned.
So those Venmo transactions, $400 here,
which are directed
cetera,
towards Destin Kendrick and as well as the money that's obtained by my father for work has nothing to do with the harassment. So let's move on from that.
Well, I think it's telling. You were asking your father for money repeatedly as recently as a week before filing this order. Isn't that true?
That's untrue, actually.
Well, we have the.
Yeah, a week prior to my domestic violence situation, so not technically the restraining order.
Okay, but your father was Venmoing you money, Venmoing your husband at your request, true?
True. It was for paid wages that were worked on his job site.
I see. And so the paid wages were in irregular increments, like $400 here, $50 there, another
Financial
$75.
situations are none of your concern, actually.
So Ms. O'Brien, let the question be finished and then answer it as best you can.
Oh my God, she is awful.
So Mr. Johnson, want to rephrase the question?
Now I know why.
And then Ms. O'Brien,
Alyssa sent
you answer the question.
It was pretty straightforward the first time, Your Honor.
I want to hear it because they were talking over each other. So Mr. Johnson, what's the question again?
Thank you. So it's your contention here today that each and every time that Mr. O'Brien was Venmoing and sending cash money to you and your husband, it was strictly in compensation for wages.
Correct, and it's an ex-husband, thank you.
Okay. And so over the course of the previous, and that was the last transaction was about a week before you filed this restraining order, isn't that true?
To Destin Kendrick, yes.
Okay. And that was while the two of you were still together prior to the domestic violence situation.
Yes.
And the domestic violence situation that you're referring to throughout is Justin and yourself. Isn't that right?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. What was the question?
The domestic violence situation that you've referred to numerous occasions is the domestic violence situation involving your husband and you, true?
Yes, if you read the declarations, that would be true.
And Mr. O'Brien, my client, the respondent, was not present during any domestic violence situation between you and your husband that Mr. Kendrick, your husband, was arrested for, true?
Yes, true. It was midnight. I don't think anyone
Okay.
should be at my house at midnight, but yes.
Got it. So at midnight, you and your husband get into some sort of a domestic violence
Let's
situation.
pause for a second.
Ms. O'Brien, you need a what? What are you asking for?
To get into details about the domestic violence is pretty triggering for me, and that's not to be discussed under what is here today. It's harassment. So I don't like to discuss further into my domestic violence situation. Besides that, this is added up to my dad bailing him out of jail. That is the only
You're saying
parts of
that it's not relevant for Mr. Johnson to ask about what happened between you and Dustin Kendrick.
Yes, it's none of his concern nor his
Okay.
business.
Well, a lot of things start to open up when we come to court, but I'm going to turn to Mr. Johnson about that. Mr. Johnson, maybe you can tell me where you're headed so I can make a decision about that objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I think I have the answers that I was looking for already, so I can move to the next series of
All right.
questions. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So your husband is your direct first cousin, isn't that true?
If that's what it states in the thing and what he wanted to pursue, yeah. If that's what you guys.
He's the son of Mr. O'Brien's sister, isn't that right?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien's sister was dying of brain cancer throughout this situation, true?
Lung cancer. Lung cancer.
Lung cancer, I'm sorry.
That's kind of disregarding and sad that you guys couldn't get that right. Rest in peace, Natasha.
Yes, may she rest in peace. It was lung cancer. I apologize. So she was dying of lung cancer.
Correct.
And let me back up a second. So by your own testimony, you were working for your father. You were in a relationship, father-daughter relationship with your father, up to the point that you and your husband get involved in a domestic violence situation at midnight. Is that right?
Yes, but it's also pursued into my dad as a pattern behavior that this has not happened just more than once, which has been submitted as well in my declarations.
Got it. So you were very upset that you found out through a third party planning to bail your husband, your cousin, his nephew out of jail. True?
Wouldn't you be upset if your father didn't believe that's in court record that happened and he decided to bail someone out in regards of strangulation, his own daughter, and putting his hands on me. I think anybody would be
So
upset regarding that.
Ms. O'Brien, this is a difficult situation for everyone. Asking the attorneys questions or what they would feel is not relevant. I'll ask you to answer questions that you can. All right,
Which
so
I am doing
don't
my best
make
to
extra
do.
comments, don't ask questions of the attorney and how they would feel about something. Simply answer the question that they pose. So, Mr.
Appreciate
Johnson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bryan, it's also possible that your father wanted to give his dying sister the gift of having face-to-face contact with her son before she passed. True?
I wasn't
Well,
knowledgeable about that, so that's really for
That's
him to
speculation,
decide.
Mr. Johnson. I don't require Ms. O'Brien to
That's called a
answer
guilt
a
trip.
question that she has to divine what another person is thinking.
Okay.
So you don't have to answer that
So
question.
fair enough. So the reason I ask you that, Ms. O'Brien, is because it sounds like you're speculating on what your father's reason is for bailing your husband cousin out of jail.
So
True?
what would you like me to respond to that?
True or false?
Yeah, I'm very angry that he did that because I'm his daughter.
So you speculated
I
as
did
to
not
what
speculate anything.
his intention was in bailing his nephew out of jail.
So yes, let me
True?
respond to that. Yes. His intentions were not pure. I've received text, please don't interrupt me. I've received text from Natasha, it's being sent to me that he wishes I was dead and hung, and that he wishes I was stoned to death and beaten to death. And I think that's suffice and sufficient enough to why we're here today, of why I don't want any contact with my own father, because as a mother of myself, I would never say anything about my children that way. So let's touch there.
Ms. O'Brien, you included the third-party text that you received in your original petition.
Third-party text in regarding to what?
Which you just stated that he had said some
which was
ugly things.
Yes. So why is that
You-
acceptable for anybody to tell that to anybody?
Ma'am,
regarding-
you included those texts
Yes, I did.
that you received somehow from third parties in your original petition, isn't that right?
I received them because she sent them to me.
You included them in your temporary, in your request for a temporary order, true?
True.
And you were denied that temporary order, weren't you?
This got continued. It wasn't
No,
denied,
you
it
were-
was continued.
No, you were
I don't think we
denied.
have to parse that. We're at the hearing to determine if an order will be issued. And so I do see
So
that
let's
that
get-
is part of the evidence and we're going to talk about it all. So Mr. Johnson, why don't you move forward from what happened about whether a temporary order was issued or not? And let's get to the meat of this, whether the court should or shouldn't issue this order.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Computer just froze on me. Let me. So it is accurate that you received tens of thousands of dollars of financial support from your husband in the year leading up to you requesting this order, or from your father.
Negative.
Thanks.
Tens and thousands of dollars seems pretty absurd to me.
Okay. Received.
So once you get
almost-
those numbers, maybe you can put that
you
on
received-
paper.
Look, this isn't an argument.
It's not an
Yeah.
argument, but we
This
are
is-
here in court today
So,
to
Ms.
decipher
O'Brien,
what's
just
going
slow down, Mr. Johnson, slow down. So, Mr. Johnson asked if you received tens of thousands of
No.
dollars from your father, and what is your answer?
False. No.
Okay, so Mr.
No.
Johnson,
Thank you. But we've provided to the court the specific transactions for just one
Yes.
month, and it totals $2,850. You saw that, correct?
Correct. And that's not, it's for paid wages.
So
No, let me talk if you want an answer, please.
All right.
It's for,
it was a yes or no question, ma'am. It was a yes or no question. Here's the next question.
wonderful.
You're claiming that you worked for your father. Can you tell me what job you did working for your father?
It's under IQ construction and he doesn't actually have workman's comp. So it was to help him do dump runs. So
I
he didn't
see.
have to hire somebody to do so.
So it's your contention that you
And this isn't
did-
about money. This is about the harassment.
It's your contention that you did dump runs totaling almost $3,000 the last month
And
prior
labor.
to filing.
And labor, yes.
So this is actually the second time you filed a petition against your father, isn't that true?
This is the first time for a no contact order.
Okay. You filed this
Where did you find the
separate.
second time?
Here, let me come back to that. I'll get you the date. Hold on 1 second. Let me just go to the next question. So you also sent text messages to your father that were, I guess we could characterize.
Your feed kind of broke up there, Mr. Johnson. Say that again.
You also sent text messages to your father that would be characterized as ugly. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but this is the harassment on him, not me, because I do stand up for myself and what's wrong and what's right. I can be ugly if you are ugly towards me, but at this point, this is towards him.
Well, it would
This
be
is about him
relevant for the court
harassing.
to hear your comments to Jason O'Brien if they're within a particular amount of time here. So, Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
You've used the F word toward him in text.
Oh. Do you want a yes or no to that?
Of course, I want a yes.
Well, yes, I have, as he told me he wanted me dead. So, I mean, why don't you
So
stand up for yourself?
you're characterizing the conversation where
Where's the proof in these ugly messages
he's-
that have been submitted to the court?
you're
So just answer the questions, Ms. O'Brien, if you can. And that's the
Well, I said
evidence,
yes the
it's
first-
his testimony. So, Mr. Johnson?
Your Honor, you're characterizing the argument that you and your father had about he perceived that you were being dishonest, and he said, "Or demised little child."
Demised little child, I'm an adult. So we can
You were-
kind of
you were
correct that.
offended. You were offended that
You're breaking up. It's not
Mr.
quite clear.
Johnson,
You were
your connection
offended.
is not good.
you here. Let me try something different, Your Honor. Hold on a second.
Charger, type C.
Okay, can you hear me better now, Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. You were offended that he referred to you as little child?
What's the response in that text?
Well, the response in that text is telling him to F-U-C-K, etc. Right? So that means you were offended, true?
Where's the evidence of these messages? Because that's not been submitted.
Let me worry about the evidence, okay?
Okay.
I'm just simply
That's
asking.
So,
crazy.
Ms. O'Brien, evidence is testimony. Answer the questions as best you can. This is not an argument you're having with Mr. Johnson. I'm trying to get evidence so I can determine what to do here. and you're arguing with the attorney isn't helping. So
So
please
yes, I
just
was
answer the
offended.
questions.
So ma'am, the earlier protection order was filed and denied on December 10th, 2018. True?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So you read the declaration from Natasha saying that that she did not directly send you the communication between her and Mr. O'Brien. True?
I don't know about that one.
You read Natasha's declaration?
Yes, and it's false.
Okay. And so and Natasha passed away within the last week.
Yes.
Um So the text that he sent you about the little child, he said in that text, your lies have gone far enough. Good luck. True?
Untrue.
Well, that's what the text reads, right? You lied. I think he there's a typo instead of lies. It's
I was
lied.
able to prove it. It was perjured.
You lied, have gone far enough. Good luck. True?
Untrue.
So I guess I'm not clear on what part you're talking about was perjured. One of your primary claims is that he made the little child comment. Are you now saying that he did not make that comment?
Yes, he did. You asked if it
Okay.
was offensive to me, and I said
That's-
yes.
That's right, but now you're saying it's perjured or something. I am not following you.
The declaration of Natasha's is.
Okay,
Because-
but we're now turning to the text. This is the only text that was sent directly to you that is part of the evidence of this case. And that text continues with more writing from Mr. O'Brien, and it says, you lied, have gone far enough, good luck, right?
Right.
So he's upset about what he perceives. I'm not asking you whether you're lying or not. He's asking he's responding to what he perceives is lying by you, right?
Right.
And you submitted a response to that, and the response was, go fuck yourself. True?
True.
You were angry with him, right?
The words are the words, yes.
Yeah. But they're not the words of someone who's afraid of someone, are they?
I'm not afraid of my own father, but I am, this is for me to elaborate on. So excuse that. Yes, to your answer. I'm not scared of my father. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's fine.
I'm not scared of my father. I'm not scared of him, but at the same time, what he's doing is wrong. And how he talks to people is wrong.
Got it. So you brought the petition to punish him. Is that right?
To enlighten him about his behavior, yes.
Okay. So you're upset that he bailed your cousin out of jail. That's what you're upset about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't trust him in
So-
his actions either.
Got it. So you're not under substantial emotional distress because he called you little child, right?
That's the least of my concerns. I'm
Okay.
under mental stress and emotional stress because of what he's pursued in text messages that have been submitted of evidence to the court that he wishes I was dead and stoned to death. And that's pretty mentally destroying for anybody, if you ask me.
Okay. So I'm going to object to facts not in evidence. There's no evidence that Mr. O'Brien said that he wanted her dead or that he wanted her stoned to death. It's just the record is what the record is, Your Honor.
which is a pattern of his behaviors. He was harassing me prior to him even
So, Your Honor, I'd like
getting me out of jail.
I'd like a ruling on my objection. I'm objecting facts not in evidence.
Right, I am looking at petitioner's exhibit and I'm looking at a text message that, where was that? That, didn't say, it said, I just wish Destin would get smart, walk away from her and leave her hanging. Brooke needs to fucking just be hung, beaten, but still live, but be taught, spelled T-O-U-G-H-T, a lesson. That's what I'm looking at, so.
That is what I referred to.
Yeah, okay, so Mr. Johnson?
Okay, so it doesn't say anything about you being stoned to death.
But I think the other sufficient evidence is enough to make sure that's
Ma'am, it's a
harmful to
yes or a
someone.
no. It does not say that you're to be stoned to death, right?
Yeah, yep,
Doesn't-
that's what was read.
Okay, doesn't even say that you're to be killed, does it?
Beaten to death?
I did not.
Is that what I heard? Beat?
But still live, ma'am.
You can't be serious.
But still live. Wow, that's real refreshing.
Fine. And it was a message that he sent not to you, but to his own sister, right?
And there's also more evidence that was, that does say stoned to death and different evidence that's been submitted. So maybe we can read through that too.
Has not been submitted, Your Honor. So we, because it doesn't exist, frankly. So the text messages, there are lots of text messages where he communicates love and affection to you. Isn't that true?
No.
Your father's never told you he loves you?
Any parent would say, I love you at some level or another. Yes.
Okay, so your
That
father
doesn't
has told
disregard from the last 3 months of harassment. You can love somebody and it still not work out.
So he was harassing you while you were working for him and he was paying you. Is that your testimony?
Not while I was working with him and all that, but there's prior to the whole you throwing the money in there as well. This isn't about the money. This is about the harassment.
I think that the last transfer of money was January 28th, right?
Because you don't mix business and pleasure.
Okay. So when Jason was released,
when Dustin was released,
Dustin was released, the
Want to make sure your client is still with us. All right.
I am.
Brian.
I'm sorry. I had to walk away, Your Honor, for a long come on back.
Okay.
All right, go ahead,
When
Mr.
Dustin, thank you, Your Honor. When Dustin was released, are you aware that your father took his nephew into his own home?
I'm well aware. My own husband reached.
And are you aware that your father took his nephew to his probation appointment the next day? So the let's see.
Yeah, disgusting.
Just going through my notes quickly, Your Honor.
There's no basis for it, but it's used as a smear for sure.
Your Honor, I think that's all I have for this witness at this time.
So is Brian, anything else before I turn to Mr. O'Brien?
No.
All right, let me just see if I've got in particular. I don't think I do. So, Mr. Johnson, any evidence to present from your client?
I don't
Other
think
than,
it's,
of course,
I
it's in
don't-
the court.
I don't think it's necessary, Your Honor. Let me just hold on one second.
Give you a moment to review things.
Your Honor, Mr. O'Brien wants to address the court.
All right, so I'll have you pose questions to your client.
Okay. Mr. O'Brien, you've heard the testimony of your daughter. Is it true that the money that you were sending to her husband and her family was compensation for work that they were doing for your business?
Yes and no.
Okay, can you explain? Can you clarify that?
Yes, I can. Thank you for asking. Over the years, I have helped Brooke numerous times with cars, vehicles, schooling, as such as her mother has too at times. There have been there's been many multiple occasions where I've helped her pay her rent, sometimes her bills throughout the years, as such as her mom has too. And but during a lot of the money that I've given has not always been generated from them working for me. It has been because they might have been slow on bills or money might have been coming in a little bit slower, but dad was there to give them money. When I had the opportunity for them to work, I put them to work when they wanted to work. Hopefully that answers your question.
So let's go to the most recent, let's go to the month leading up to the filing of this petition. It looks like it's almost $3,000. You know if that was for work or that was as a gift? Can you speak to that?
Yes, sir, I can. For that month, yes, it was for work.
Okay. What about prior to that?
A little bit of everything. You know, I would send $50 here, $30 there. You know, if she had worked for me for 4 or 5 hours, I'd pay for that time. Because it was pretty tough for Brooke to find a job because of my granddaughter and stuff. You know, it's tough because of the scheduling on my daughter's and her part. So Brooke would work for me when she could find time to work for me. And there's times being that she didn't have income coming in that month. So I would help them out with bills.
Got it. So, and what was the relationship like prior to you telling your sister that you were planning to bail your nephew out of jail?
I bailed my nephew out of jail to say goodbye to his mother. I didn't do it despite my daughter, to threaten my daughter in no way. I knew getting him out was going to be a situation, but I took that chance for him to say goodbye to his mom. Now, him ending up back in jail was not my doing.
Okay. So the next question that I have for you is the kind of ugly messages that you sent to your sister about your daughter. And it might be horrifying to the judge to hear a father send a message to his sister saying she deserves to be beat and hung but still live so that she can learn a lesson. Can you provide some context to the court for that? Because it's kind of a shocking comment, and that alone might, create bias. So I want the court to know what your perspective is on that.
Thank you for asking me that so I can define that statement. In no shape or form would I want anything to happen to my kids, my daughters. I just want my daughter to be held accountable for the lies and the picture that she's painted, and stop playing victim and accept accountability in her life for herself and her self-actions. And I understand what I said was not right.
We get it. You
and I'll
were pissed. You
100%
didn't
take
mean it.
accountability for that. I could have rephrased my words in a different manner.
Every parent understands.
But at the time, I'm hurt. I'm hurt because of her actions. I didn't raise my child this way, neither did her mother. You know, and so I said some things that I regret, and I do. But at no point ever would I want anything to happen to my kid. Period.
You separated from Brooke's mother when she was about 12?
15.
15, sir.
15.
Yeah.
And you the girls stayed with their mom temporarily, and your boy too, and then you had your son live with you. Is that right?
Yes and no. My daughter Megan lived with my ex Tracy. Brooke at that time was moving out, living with her boyfriend Caleb at the time.
At 15?
I was in Shelton, Washington, doing a job. I came back. I got custody of my son. Well, I got custody as in his mother and I came to a certain agreement that Brandon can come live with me. And ever since then, I've had Brandon since middle school all the way through high school.
Got it. And so were your daughters resentful of the fact that you took your son through high school and Brooke had to go live with a boyfriend?
I can't speak for Brooke's emotional content at that time, but I sensed jealousy, yes, because Brandon is the youngest. And at that point, I was able to give more to Brandon because my life was different. My business was different. My means were different. I sensed that, yeah, and I tried to compensate that by giving them cars, buying them cars, getting them to things, and it just never worked out for me. It's a tough lesson. Tough lesson.
Did you invite Megan to come live with you with her child when she divorced with her husband?
No, I did not. She ended up just showing up, and I opened my house up to her and gave her a place to live.
And she lived with you?
Yes, sir. She did.
So, so it's not. What would you say to their claim that you've been emotionally abusive to the girls?
I wish I could say what I wanted to say, but I find it to be false. I find it to be false. Not every parent's perfect, nor am I. But it doesn't take away the love I have for them. I never hit them. I never abused them.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because Brooke claims that you were physically abusive to her.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So, do you want to provide some context on the I'll be your demise, little child? Your lies have gone far enough. You want to provide some context for the court on that statement? That's the only statement
as in the statement, as in I will be your demise.
That whole statement, you can talk about it for the court, please.
What I meant by that comment was I'm tired of her lies. I'm tired of her not accepting accountability in life for her actions and the decisions in which he's making to continue having to come to me asking for help. When, as a parent, I confront her to try to change the subject. What can we do to prevent you coming to me every month and asking me for help, or every other month? And it goes for all my children, just not Brooke. When I have that parenting talk to them, they get offended because I don't open my, well, I'm just gonna say, because I don't open my wallet as much as I used to. And I want them to be held accountable for their actions. And that's what that meant. I want her to be held accountable.
Did you mean it as a threat?
No, absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not.
Were you upset that your daughter...
Threatening my daughter in any shape or fashion affects my relationship with my grandchildren. I have to be nice to them to have a relationship with my grandchildren.
Have you loved on your grandchildren?
Have I? I'm sorry, sir.
Have you loved on your grandchildren?
My grand,
Yes, he has.
they're my life. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I make a better grandparent than I make a better grandparent than a parent. But my grandkids are my life. I mean, I got a grandkid that was just born 2 weeks ago that I haven't seen because of this.
So,
I can't have it. You know, the people that are suffering are my grandkids. My kids aren't going to sit here and say, hey, look, he's a bad grandparent. They won't say that because I'm an awesome grandparent. They drop off their kids to my house, you know, previous to her filing against me. My grandkid was at my house.
So, Mr. Johnson, why don't you pose some questions?
thank you, Your Honor. Were you upset that your daughter married her cousin?
Yes, absolutely.
Were you worried about her having children with him?
Yes, absolutely.
I have no more questions for Mr. O'Brien, Your Honor.
Right.
May I speak?
Yes, I was just, give me a moment here as I see if there's something I have a question on. Answer that. So, so Brooke O'Brien, anything in response? You said a lot already and provide a lot of information, but anything additional?
So, I appreciate the financial assistance that my father has helped me with, but this is not what this case is about. He is simply doing his parental responsibilities like most parents do for their children in hard
No,
times.
you don't. You
That does not
ungrateful
excuse the
bee.
What,
behavior
can't
and
pass the age of 18,
harassment.
Brooke?
Mr. O'Brien,
I'm
please.
sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Please,
I'm
hold
sorry,
your
Your Honor.
peace and let Ms. O'Brien speak. So go ahead. Ms.
I've
O'Brien, go ahead.
experienced that. That does not excuse his behavior or harassment. The emphasis on money is not irrelevant to this case, nor should it affect this. This is about the behavior, which is he's using and makes himself appear to be a supportive father, which he has been financially, like he has said in his statement, and he's thrown money at a lot of things, but it's not ever his money that we wanted. It was him to take us fishing or his time. I also believe my father uses money to attempt to buy the love, but it's not really helpful. And it doesn't fix anything. He bailed out Destin out of jail 2 days after he was served, and he threatened to do so in messages prior to that, which proves he had ill intentions of him getting bailed out. And that's what I have to say about that.
Great. So, Mr. Johnson, anything on behalf of your client? Any statement?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I'm looking at helpfully, Ms. O'Brien, you put, I forget what document it was. It was your declaration that you filed where you kind of summed up the 6 points of what you were making here. So I have to find, was there unlawful harassment committed? And I can't find that. This is a horribly failed relationship. It looks, there are statements made that are shocking by your father. But I don't find that they had the intent nor any more than what we call fighting words under the law. And the more recent events is what we're dealing with. Sounds like with the declaration from your mom and the divorce that occurred about 12 years ago, or at least you moved out of the purvey of your father's house about 12 years ago, is what I understand. And your mom's statement that supports you, that your father was not, was abusive, but I don't have any substantial corroboration of that. So I'm not making any findings there. I'm glad to hear that you're not afraid of your father, but these orders have to be based on the law. It's not whether your father's doing something wrong or doing something right, or how he talks to people right or wrong. That's not for the court to issue an order on, and I don't find. on all of the information here that there's been unlawful harassment as defined by the law. So therefore, the court cannot issue an order. However,
Hallelujah.
it's obvious that folks don't want to have contact with each other, so you're going to have to make those decisions for yourself and of course for your children. But I don't have the basis of evidence here to issue this order. So that's the end of the hearing.
May I speak?
And this order of denial will be in the court file for all parties to access.
Okay, may I speak to Mr. O'Brien?
No, I'm not going to take court time to do that. So we'll do that on your own if you feel so inclined.
I don't. I just
But,
wanted to get a wham bam deal.
all
Just
right,
don't
we're going to
communicate.
move on. We're going to
Okay,
move on
thank
because I have
you.
2 other hearings. So
Your Honor, I would just
everyone
invite
can
her
be
to contact me.
on
if-
their way. Pardon, Mr.
I would
Johnson?
invite her to contact me if she wants. I can, she has my cell phone number, so.
All right, that's one avenue.
Thank you, Your
Right.
Honor. Appreciate
Be
it.
on your
I hope she grows up one day. He seems like a decent man. I just feel for him. But the right thing happened. All right, let's move on to Judge Middleton getting fired. Thank you, Colleen M. and Alyssa, who sent it to me. Let me find it here.
Your Honor, are we
Let's
done
do it.
right now?
You're done. You can be on your way.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't know what's going on here. Beloved Judge Middleton, fired
And Milton.
in court.
Good afternoon, Mr. King. I've got Mr. Stickley, the Chief Public Defender, here with me. I got a notice that there's an allegation that you violated your personal protection order. I saw this when I first came in this morning, about 10 after 7. I looked at the roster and I saw you were on it. There was a circuit court matter. Apparently you've already seen Judge Stutzman and he gave you a day in jail and a new date to appear. You also, I'm advised, have a hold on you from Cass County on a fail to appear for what was listed as cyber stalking. So you have a case in Cass County. And
I
then,
called my attorney,
I'm sorry,
and I called my attorney in Cass, and I told him I couldn't make it. Can we
who's your
reschedule?
attorney in Cass?
I had no fucking idea. He was texting me.
All right,
And I told him-
don't
I
swear.
called him and I told him, I said, I cannot make it to court. I don't have a right. Can we reschedule?
Well, all right, that's their problem and they'll deal with that. My issue is I ordered a restraining order prohibiting you from having contact with Virginia Swanson or going to property at 1307 Briarwood Court, lot 24. And as I recall, this was your brother Dewey's house, and he passed away last October. And there's been a lot of discord since then. Anyway, the allegation is that you did go to that property in violation of my order. So the prosecutor has authorized a violation of a personal protection order. As such, I don't know if they gave you these rights, so I'll give them to you.
April 25, you have the same page?
All right. Do you want to watch the hearing? It's about 20 minutes. Or do you want me to skip to the money shot here? I haven't seen it.
Well, let me find it.
No, wait, Jeff. Jeffrey, Middleton,
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm your boss, okay? Now, wait a minute, listen. You did not give me no protective group.
Okay.
She did. She put a PPO on me. You didn't.
Funny shot it is.
She did.
Yes.
I kind of want to hear
And
about Brother Dewey, but you know, that's
That
all
is
right.
my house.
That's all
That's
right.
in my name. It's in my name, Righteous King. That's what they come
My
out.
recollection is it was not in your name.
This
It
guy
was
talking
in
is a
Dewey's
joke in
name.
itself.
All
right.
Oh, here we go.
We'll do this. We're going to the main thing.
Here's Mr. King's stuff. I can't handle this anymore because he fired me, so somebody else had to do it.
It's colorful. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm for you.
Dumbass, he said.
Oh. That's a little uncalled for.
I said that's what the pot calling the kettle black.
Rewind to where? All right, there he is. I don't know. Do we get to see him actually get fired? Okay.
But that's to be determined. At any rate, they had requested at least one previous PPO, which I denied because as a rule, you can't use a personal protection order to evict somebody. But there was a separate set of incidents and I authorized the PPO. So you're alleged to have violated that PPO by going to that property and you were prohibited from doing so. You have the following rights. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have a right to plead guilty or not guilty. At this point,
Only
I'm
my
assuming you're
chat.
going to plead not guilty. You have a right to be tried by a judge without a jury. You have the right to have the assistance of an attorney. So we're going to appoint an attorney to assist you. You have the right to an attorney appointed by the court at a cost of at least $150 or to hire your own
That's chat
attorney if
in
you
the
plead
business.
not guilty today.
No two ways about
If
it.
you have a trial, you have the following rights.
How about this? Hey, wait. How about this? Jeffrey Middleton, as the FBI agent that I am, you're fired.
Okay,
How
well,
about that?
thanks.
You're
That's
fired.
great. I wish I was
That's because
fired.
I can't fire you. I
Yeah.
Well,
can't
you
fire you, and
can't.
I'm not joking.
You're stuck with me.
He's not
All right,
joking.
let me finish this. You have a right to see, hear, and question the witnesses against you at trial. You have the right to call witnesses to testify for you at trial, to have the court order any witnesses you have for your defense to appear at trial, and to be a witness for yourself at trial appointed by the court at a cost of at least $150,
That's the
or
good
to
part.
hire your own attorney if you plead not
This is
guilty
the real money
today.
shot here.
If you have a trial, you have the following rights.
How about this? Hey, wait. How about this? Jeffrey Middleton, as the FBI agent that I am, you're fired.
Okay,
How
well,
about that?
thanks.
You're
That's
fired.
great. I wish I was
That's because
fired.
I can't fire you. I can't
Well, you
fire you, and
can't.
I'm not joking.
You're stuck with me. All right, let me finish this. You have a right to see, hear, and question the witnesses against you at trial. You have the right to call witnesses to testify.
All right, you guys were right. We needed the whole thing. We needed the whole thing. I thought that when he talked about it at the end, I'm like, well, he got fired at some point. We got to hear the firing, and he fired Judge Middleton in no uncertain terms, and then he backed it up by saying, I'm not joking. I mean that. Most of these subs just go, they just go for a recusal. Not this guy. This guy's straight to firing. That turned into a wild stream, but there were 2 add-ons. That last case was horrifically sad, but interesting as hell. Just an awful spoiled brat. And then the one before that was weird with the whole recording thing and all that business. It was good stuff. Good stuff all around. Thanks everybody for helping me out. It's especially hard when it's midstream, but we had 2 emergencies occur midstream. The chat says it's not over. What else is going on? Okay.
5-0334 SM people versus James Crowley.
Is that where we were? All right.
Hi, you're James Crowley.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and today is the date scheduled for a
There is witnesses.
trial.
Oh. Well, yeah, so
And this is the prosecutor's requesting an adjournment on the case. We're going to and your attorney has agreed to that. So we're going to adjourn your pretrial conference. Will we send out a notice or?
You have the court order any witnesses you have for your defense to appear at trial and to be a witness for yourself.
they will send
at
it.
trial or to remain silent. You have the right to have the prosecutor be proved beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of criminal contempt.
Mr. Crowley, a new notice will be sent to you.
Civil contempt.
Are you on Hunt Street?
You heard on bond, which we will
Negative, Your
address
Honor.
here in a moment.
Is that your address or no?
Let me finish this.
No, Your Honor.
Then I already have to say.
Did you?
If you plead guilty or no contest, your plea is accepted. You will not have a trial. You will give up the rights that I read to you above. An appeal of right for finding criminal contempt may only be taken within 21 days. If your plea is accepted, any appeal on your conviction and sentence would be by right. Federal law and state law may prohibit you from purchasing, possessing a firearm if you're convicted or.
I should have just let the damn thing play.
So at this point, Mr. King, do you wish to plead not guilty to the PPO violation?
Get fired.
All right, thanks.
No. I'm FBI agent Righteous King. You know I'm your boss.
Shit, there is more.
You're about an FBI agent like I am. I'm reading Black Mass, which is about the FBI in Boston, which is very interesting. But Mr. King, you're not an FBI agent. You know it and I know it. And you don't have the right to fire me, even though I wish you could. And somebody else could do this. Anyway, I'm going to show your plea not guilty. I'm going to appoint an attorney. And I'm going to set a PV hearing, a PPO violation hearing.
Boston? I work in Washington, D.C., dumbass. Not Boston.
The book is in Boston, and don't call me dumbass.
No, FBI headquarters is in Washington, D.C., on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Keith is holding it in.
Okay.
Do your math. Do your math. Okay? That's what I work at.
Yeah, all right.
Call them.
Now,
Call on the phone
Mr.
now.
King.
Call on the phone. Are you scared? Are you scared? You are. You know I work for the FBI.
I don't even know why you say this kind of stuff. Mr. King, I'm going to mute your microphone because I don't really care what you have to say. And you're a supreme case of the pot calling the kettle black. further complicate things, you have a new charge that they're gonna arraign you on tomorrow. Prosecutor is charged stalking and malicious use of a telephone regarding this Amanda Wilson, who's also the subject of this PPO. And as I mentioned, Cass County has warrants for your arrest too. So I'm gonna set your bond here at $5,000 cash or surety. I felt there was a danger to this person. I prohibited you from contacting her. And the allegations you went to that address, there is a dispute as to who owns this house. And I don't think it's you. So I don't know the date where your hearing is gonna be right now. It may depend on who the attorney is. So let's give you one last chance to say something. Do you have anything coherent you wish to say? I can't unmute you from here. All right, Mr. King, I'm gonna get an attorney to assist you and we'll set it for a proceeding. As soon as we can do that, you're gonna get arraigned tomorrow on your new charge. And either me or the magistrate will see you tomorrow. All right.
Listen to me, please. I'm trying to talk to you, please. I'm trying to be nice to you.
All right.
All right. Who is Amanda Wilson? That's what I'm trying to understand. Who is Amanda Wilson? Who is, you tell me this new charge on this new person, Amanda Wilson?
Well, the
Who is
first
this
one,
Amanda
the
Wilson?
PPO is Virginia Swanson. Amanda Wilson is the subject of the new complaint. Apparently, the allegation is that somebody gave you her number and then you started hassling her. Not sure what this is about, but the complainant in the PPO is Virginia Swanson, who also lives at Briarwood Court. So Amanda Wilson, I don't know who she is either. We'll find out more about her tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna appoint Keith Stickley specifically.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a great day as well.
You're fired. Okay. He's done with circuit court. He's on probation, and these acts would violate his probation. He has a new misdemeanor stalking complaint. He has the PPO violation, and he has a Cass County charge. So there's a lot going on here. All right.
We'll unravel it and get something set tomorrow. You need anything else, or are you good?
No, thank you for checking in. All right.
All right, is that it? We all good? We good? I promise I won't skip the foreplay anymore. Just go charging into the money shot. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. See you soon.